Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another before and after. So for this one, we're going to be looking at two movies, again at the drive-in. Drive-ins are always awesome, just want to point that out. So the first one, I think, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know, but the first one I'm going to talk about is Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That's a very strange name. So yeah, I just want to get that out there, that's a peculiar name. So, yeah, first off, no, I have not read the book. Yeah, I didn't even know there actually was a book until this movie came out, and I checked the comment section, and everyone in it was saying, oh man, this book, it's one of my favorites, I love this book, I can't believe they're making a movie out of this book, I mean, like, oh man, I love this, it's so cool, it's a book, and, like, this character has now been changed from this one to this, and her powers and her name has been changed, and this is different, and this, and that, and Samuel Jackson, and X-Men, and this is a book. So, yeah, that's pretty much how the whole entire comment section is like, seriously. I checked out, like, most of the comment section, that is what it's like in that trailer. No one really addressing the actual trailer and how it looks or anything, just like, this looks like X-Men, or this is, I read the book, let me talk about it a little bit. So, yeah, it's either one of those two, or just bring up, like, hey, that's an actor that I recognize. So, yeah, no one actually addressing the trailer. So from what I can gather, this movie is going to be about these kids who were born, or maybe they got it at a certain age, they got pretty much powers or weird special abilities that they are just sort of trying to live their average life with. So they just sort of went off to this school, or this house, whichever, and they can pretty much learn how to control their powers there, and also have a place to fit in. But eventually they are attacked by Samuel Jackson and his army of skeletons. I swear I'm not making this up, that's honestly what it looks like. Oh, and also Samuel Jackson can turn his hand into a hatchet. Is he Carnage now or something? So, yeah, he can do that, apparently. And he wants to kill these peculiar children for a reason, I am sure. So they all gotta fight him off, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna win. So, yeah, that's pretty much what this movie seems like it's gonna be like. No similarities. Not specifically to this comic, but yeah, X-Men. They are very similar to the X-Men here. That's honestly all I was thinking of when I saw this trailer. Just like, oh, hey, a new X-Men movie. Oh, wait, no, it's something else entirely. So, yeah. Not really sure how this one's gonna like, if it's got the things I like from the X-Men in it, then chances are I'll probably like it, but from what I've mostly heard, that this movie is just okay. So, yeah, I don't really know how this one's gonna go. I will only say that the trailer is pretty cool, like, it at least caught my interest, mainly because I was thinking that this is just a new X-Men movie, but yeah, it did at least catch my interest, and they don't really reveal that much of it in it, so, like, they just sort of reveal, like, overall things, and one big spoiler, I think, like, this one kid, Jake, or whatever he is, whatever his name is, he apparently has powers to make roses appear next to his bed. So, yeah, that's something, and apparently she knew that he had powers ever since he was born, but never wanted to tell him about it, or even call him up to this house or school or whatever it is. I guess that she just knew that he would come here one day? But yeah, apparently he didn't know about it all this time, so might as well mess with his life and tell him about it? I don't understand that thought process at all, but at least like with the X-Men, they gain their powers and usually they can't control it, but apparently he's been living his life pretty well with these powers up until whatever age he is, so Well, why didn't she tell him about that? I really don't get it. But, yeah, it at least looks kinda neat. I gotta give it that. Like, Tim Burton's directing, so of course the sets and the costumes are gonna look great. They look really neat. So, yeah, I'm pretty curious as to seeing this one. There are going to be skeletons fighting with Samuel Jackson turning his hatchet and his hand into a hatchet, and a big white monster thing attacking a house, which a guy's gotta shoot a crossbow at. So, yeah, that's gonna be happening in this movie. So that's at least something to look forward to. So then after this one, we have The Magnificent Seven. First things first, I am not a Western fan. I'm not a fan of Westerns. Like, and to me, they just never really caught my interest. Part of that's just because of the scenery, which is really boring. It's just like a desert and nothing else. Just like, oh, hey, look at that, a rock, a tree. Wait, no, sorry, cactus, dirt, grass, excitement. So, yeah, like, to me, the scenery pretty much fits with how I feel about these movies. It's pretty boring, and I just always sort of find them pretty boring. But, my parents really like this, like, they really like Westerns, so we're gonna go see it. Also, one of the advertisements for this one looked pretty cool. Like, there's, like, this 30-second advertisement for it that honestly looked really awesome. So, that's getting my curiosity in this one as to, like, if the whole movie is like that one advertisement, then I'll probably like it. And it'll probably be, like, the second Western that I actually like. Like, the first one that I like is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which it took a while for me to get invested in that one. Although I kind of like the ending of Young Guns. But, yeah, most of the time to me, Westerns are just pretty boring. They always seem the same. Like, oh, some guy has destroyed this town, or he's ransacked this town, or he's a bad guy, and you're not supposed to like him because reasons. And now this group of misfits, or the sheriff who's not a sheriff anymore, and he's got to go reclaim his title, or like there's this group that bands together because of revenge or righteousness or something, or they gotta go in and get justice, revenge, one of the two. And that's pretty much how Westerns always seem to me. They always seem the same to me, but yeah, this one actually seems the same too, but who knows, it could be different. So yeah, pretty much what I described seems like what this one's like. A town is ransacked or burnt to the ground or something by miscellaneous bad guy, and this girl hires some bounty hunter to go get some other guys, like 6 more guys, so they can all take on this guy for a reason. Because, like, they're getting paid, I guess. So, they're all gonna take on this guy and probably win. Even though he has an army and they're just 7 guys. They are probably going to win this. Somehow. So, yeah, it looks alright. Like I said, there was one advertisement that I thought was really cool. The trailer at least makes it look kind of fun, so that's something. The casting I like it has Chris Pratt. That's cool. So yeah, there are some things in it that I do like about this trailer. So not really sure how this one's gonna go because I don't really like westerns, so that might affect my opinion quite a bit. But who knows? Maybe it'll be one of those standout western movies that I might end up liking in the end. Who knows? So yeah, I honestly don't know what to expect. But this one, it looks alright. I know it's based off of a movie that's already out and stuff. Like, I actually found that movie online. I just didn't decide to watch it because I forgot, I don't know. I had a lot of things to do and I just didn't have time to watch it and I didn't really want to, so I could have, I just didn't choose to. So, yeah, I could probably still watch it, but I don't want to. So, yeah, I don't know what this original one was like. I don't know if it's really good or if it's bad or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's a movie. It's coming out. Actually, funny story, when I first saw this trailer, I honestly thought that it was supposed to be like a PG-13, The Hateful Eight. That's honestly what I thought it was at first, because I still haven't seen The Hateful Eight, so it kind of looks similar to that trailer, so I was just like, oh hey, they're deciding to profit off The Hateful Eight. Oh wait, no, this is an original. There's an original? Oh, okay. Stupid me. So, yeah. I don't really know what to expect from this one. Could be kind of cool, but it's still a Western, and I don't really like Westerns. So, yeah, I also don't know what to expect from this one. Actually, I don't know what to expect from either of these. They both have kind of cool advertisements, and they at least catch my interest, so who knows? It could be really good. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the after part. Alright, so I got back from the two movies, so yeah, let's talk about them. So the first one was Mrs. Perry's Home for Peculiar Children, and it was okay, I guess. There were some points that were kind of confusing, and yeah, overall, it could use a lot of work. So, yeah, let's talk about what goes on in this movie. So it starts off with Jake, a loser with no friends. I can relate. So, yeah, he eventually goes to his grandpa's house, and it turns out his grandpa has now been killed and his eyes are ripped out with absolutely no blood whatsoever, because I honestly don't know why. Just, like, there's no blood whatsoever. I don't know how that happened. Like, yeah, it does rip out the veins, but there's still that missing area of eyes. No blood. Somehow. It's magic, I guess. So, yeah, then Jake sees a monster and claims that that thing did it. This eventually gets people kind of thinking that he's nuts, so he talks to a counselor. Yeah, clearly, don't put him in an institution now that he's talking about monsters having killed his grandfather. No, that would just be smart. No, just send him to a counselor. He'll be fine. But also, apparently no one can just explain this as a way for him to cope. Like, really, everybody in this movie is just like, it's been a week since your grandfather died. Get over it. I'm just like, wait, what the... His grandfather just died. He was really close to him. How could you be saying, get over it? But, yeah, you know what? When my grandma died, it took me like a year to get over that. Guess what? 1 week for this guy. That's apparently all that is needed, according to his family, even. Yeah, his own parents, even the son of his grandfather, is now just saying, get over it. He died. It's sad. Too bad. Give him some time to cope, you idiots. But, yeah, apparently actually trying to deal with the situation at hand is a dumb idea. So they just decide, well, if we send him off to this island that he wants to go to, then yeah, it'll be fine. So he goes off to the island where Mrs. Perry's home is, and he goes to go see the house, and it's completely destroyed, and he finds out that it was bombed by Nazis. What a wonderful backstory. So yeah, this house has now been completely bombed, and he honestly is just kind of bored trying to figure out what to do, but eventually he goes back to the house, and he meets all the people that his grandfather told him about. Even though he was talking about meeting them in the 40s. But they give a brilliant explanation for this. They're stuck in a time loop, where pretty much they reset one day every day, just to survive the bomb. Here's my question, why not just move? Like, you can just move, change your location, leave before the bomb hits. Just saying. But apparently that's something that they cannot do, because then they'll break the loop and they'll actually have to move on and live their lives. Truly an awful predicament? But yeah, apparently they can't just do that and actually age and have a life. No, that would just be nice. Instead, Mrs. Peregrine, she just keeps them all trapped in this time loop forever. Did any of them even ask for this? I really want to know. But yeah, now Jake has been brought here and decided to spend the night, and he got to know some of the kids there. Like, there's an invisible kid, there's a guy with bees living inside of him. Okay. There's a girl who can do things with wind, and she's also as light as wind. There's a girl who can do stuff with trees and plants. So she's Lila from Sky High, I guess, except younger. There's a girl with fire powers. Mrs. Peregrine can turn to a bird and also reset a date somehow. And also, there's a guy who can control the dead. He is honestly the coolest character in this movie to me, actually. Honestly, I would just watch a movie all about that guy. Like, he can control the dead. What was that like for him? Like, how would that be growing up outside of the school? Or did his parents just see, like, oh, he can control the dead. Okay, send him off to this school. Like, there's no... Send him out to this place. Like, it's just... We don't want him here anymore. He can control the dead. Send him away forever. So, yeah. Pretty much, Jake is now here for a little bit, but then goes back home to find that apparently the amount of time that he stayed in that loop has now passed in his world as well. Which I don't get, seeing as it's a loop. Wouldn't it be able to, you know, stay a loop? And actually, wouldn't it stop time around it? Like, God, if I put any thought into this, it'll just really confuse me. Even more than I already have, just, I don't know. The loop works in strange ways. They do try and explain it, but they never explain how it actually affects the world that Jake came from. Or at least they don't do it very well. So, yeah. I honestly have no idea how that works. Thanks, movie. So, yeah, now Jake is pretty much obsessed with going back to this world, and his father won't allow it, so he just sneaks off and does it anyway. Glad that we got that conflict. So, eventually, after going back a few more times, he hears that apparently there are these monsters, or these other peculiars, that pretty much have been wanting to try and get immortality. And they performed experiments on Mrs. Peregrine's type of peculiarity. And this eventually resulted in them getting turned to monsters, somehow. And they pretty much had to eat the eyes of peculiars to stay human. How does that work? Okay, but yeah, that apparently somehow does it. So, yeah, apparently they eat enough, then they'll stay human. Good for them. But they still have plans on the immortality thing, and there are also some other monster peculiarity things. I think they were called, willows or something, I don't know. I'll just call them monster peculiarities. But, yeah, they are pretty much things that come after all the students. Is this a school? Like, I really want to know, is this a school, or is it just a living quarters? I really want to know, because it seems like they are being taught in some areas, so is it like a school? I really want to know this, but yeah, they pretty much all just stay there every day doing the exact same thing. That must be exciting. And eventually, one of the monsters comes back with Jake, and this one's the Samuel L. Jackson one. And so, of course, he's going to be able to capture Miss Peregrine because he has Jake held hostage, and truly nothing can ever happen to Jake. So, yeah, Jake is spared because, of course, the peculiar monster would keep his word, and Mrs. Peregrine is taken. So now it's up to Jake, because he can see the monsters, to be able to defeat them. He does eventually. Their house gets bombed, so the loop is completely destroyed now, and they all pretty much gotta go and fight off Samuel Jackson. And they pretty much they also go into the present, and no one questions it. Yeah, there's even a moment where the guy who can control the dead brings back skeletons, and what really looks like that Ray Harryhausen scene. So he brings to life these skeletons that are fighting invisible monsters. Nobody questions this. Really. We never see in the end, like, this gets a trending thing on YouTube. Nope, it's just like, nothing to question here. Just like, skeleton monsters. Move along, it's nothing to be worried about. Skeleton monsters fighting nothing, nothing to be scared of here, folks. Just go along with your day at this carnival. And they do exactly that, because, frankly, I don't know. And eventually, they are able to defeat Samuel Jackson's monster guy. They're able to defeat Samuel Jackson. So yeah, they defeat him, and all the peculiar children go off to live their lives, now being able to face the fact that their time loop has completely been destroyed. So they're gonna age now, they're ready to face that, and Jake goes back to his normal life until his grandfather says, nah, don't do that, just go back with them. So he does exactly that. Okay. Seemed like kind of a dumb idea, but okay. I mean, like, he doesn't know anything about this time outside of what he's read in history books. So, yeah, how's this gonna go? Like, how is he gonna adjust to this time? So, yeah, he now goes off to live with them, and the movie ends on a happy ending? His parents now have completely lost their kid, and the only guy who has an explanation for it is his grandfather, which would say he went off to join the Peculiars. Yeah, he's gonna sound sane. So yeah, his parents are probably just gonna think that he died in a ditch somewhere. So I'm sure they'll be very happy to hear that. So yeah, happy ending? Maybe? I don't know. So yeah, for this one, it's honestly really not that good. I'm guessing that it's more made for fans of the book, which I've also heard that they've had some pretty mixed feelings on it, but I'm guessing that's more for them. And for me, as a complete outsider to this series, it just reminded me of this, X-Men Days of Future Past. That's honestly all it reminded me of, just like with the time loop and everything. That got very confusing. Most of the characters I didn't really care about. Mrs. Peregrine, she was honestly one of the few standouts because she was pretty much like a female Sherlock Holmes, and that was cool, except for she can turn into a bird. But yeah, she doesn't really do much in it, and the biggest character development that she gets is we find out that her son was killed by one of the monsters, and it's not even that big of a reveal, because, yeah, right when you see that happen, it's only seen in one scene, by the way, but when we see that happen, it's just, like, you know exactly what it means. I mean, I guess that's good, but yeah, it's still pretty weak, and you don't really care about these characters, unless if you read the books, I guess. I don't know, maybe that would make this movie more enjoyable, but to me, it was honestly pretty weak. It could have used a lot more work, and honestly, I just ended up getting pretty bored during it. The only characters that really stood out to me was that kid who could bring back the dead, who could, like, control them and everything. That was really cool, and I really liked him. I would have honestly not mind to see more of him. Like, he was really cool. More of him, I am all for, because he was cool. But yeah, outside of him, I just didn't really care about most of these characters. Even Jake, he's pretty bland, so, yeah. Okay, and also the Invisible Kid, he was kind of cool, so I guess I wouldn't mind seeing him, although he's naked half of the time. Why is that? Like, even when he's inside the house, he's naked. Like, I thought that it was just used so he could be invisible once, but then he's naked in the house. I'm like, wait, why? Why are you naked inside the house? What's the point of that? But, yeah, he apparently found some use in that, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. So, yeah, that was very odd, but he was at least one of the few characters that did stand out to me, so, yeah, there are some pretty cool ideas in it, and again, it is a Tim Burton movie, so yeah, there are some pretty good things to be seen in this, like, the sets are really good, the costumes are very good, and some of the ideas are very creative, and some of it is done pretty well, it's just, yeah, all in all, for me, I'm guessing that this was more made for fans, and I have never read the books, so, yeah, I was honestly pretty lost in this, and to me, it just got kind of confusing at some points, and I didn't really care about most of the characters, so, yeah, to me, it's pretty split, because on the one hand, it is pretty good in some areas, but it could also use a lot of improvement, so, yeah, this one was just alright. And then after this one, we have The Magnificent Seven, which, I feel so wrong for saying this, I liked it. I liked a Western. I hate myself sometimes. But, yeah, I actually didn't mind this one. It was honestly kind of fun. Okay, so, yeah, the story of this one, there's a guy whose name I didn't even bother to get because he's barely in the movie. But, yeah, he's the main villain, but he's hardly in this thing. I don't know why. But, yeah, he pretty much destroys this town. And, well, okay, he burns down a church, I guess that counts. And he also shoots a few people in it. And one of them is the wife of a girl. I forgot her name. But, yeah, she pretty much goes off to hire this sheriff? They never really say. I think it might have been an excuse that he was using, but yeah, he has a certificate, so is he really a sheriff? But yeah, he goes off to hire a few more guys, like a gambler, Chris Pratt, and he was honestly my favorite character in this. He gets an assassin, he gets the muscle guy, like, there's one guy who just pretty much fights with his fists and a knife, so yeah, I guess him. He gets an Indian to join, yeah, who else did he get? He got a a guy who used to work for the army, I guess, like, it's explained at one point, so yeah, I'm guessing. And also a knife guy, they get him too, so, yeah, he gathers up a whole team of 7 people, and they go off to go into this town, get these people to fight, teach them how to fight and stuff, so then they can reclaim their town, and, spoiler, most of them die. Yeah, most of these people die, the town is pretty much destroyed, and most of the characters, even the main ones, die. Like, there are only, like, 3 that survive in the end. Wow. Okay, so, I'll at least give this movie this. They have balls to kill off most of their characters that we get to like, actually. They do get some good development. So, yeah, they are all killed off. Yay. And I guess it was worth something because they defeat the villain, so that's something. So yeah, they all win. Maybe because the town is completely destroyed, so again, happy ending? But yeah, that's pretty much it. They all just ride off and are just like, okay, well, we saved the town, we're done now, bye. So, yeah, that was pretty much what happens. So for this one, I honestly did like it. I feel so ashamed for saying that sometimes. So it's a Western. I don't like Westerns. I really don't. But this one was fun. Why aren't more Westerns like this? It's fun. This one has explosions and Chris Pratt playing with cards. More Westerns need that. So, yeah, my favorite character in this one was Chris Pratt, whose name I don't remember. I'm just calling him the Gambler because that's what they said in the trailer. So, yeah, Chris Pratt was actually my favorite character in this because there's actually kind of a dangerous side to him because he's very unpredictable. Which is something that I honestly found to be kind of interesting because I honestly did not know what he was going to do in this. There were a lot of moments where I was just thinking that he was just going to outright leave this whole entire thing behind. So, yeah, there are a lot of moments where I didn't expect him to do half of the things that he does in this, especially give his life to this cause. So, yeah, I honestly found him to be the most interesting character in this, but there are actually quite a few that are interesting. But, yeah, the main ones that aren't are the Indian, who is really, really underdeveloped. Like, the big thing is, like, his whole entire people has been killed now, and that's it. His people have been killed, so he joins this. Because why not, I guess. Like, they do give out, like, there was honestly more than I expected with him, because he's actually working with a guy who killed a lot of Indians. So I thought there'd be a lot of conflict between them, but actually there really isn't at all. So, glad that was there. Then we have the assassin guy, like the guy with the knives. He was cool. He was really cool, but there's not too much to his character. Like, all we hear is that he was saved by that general guy, and now he works with them. That is his whole character. Although, at least he'll stand through this with this guy through thick and thin, so that's something. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to his character, so there's not really that much. Then there's also that Spanish guy. He has no character in this outside of just being, well, fun, I guess. Like, he's more the comic relief in this, and he's barely in it. He barely has a scene. He barely has a scene to establish himself, and the biggest thing that he does is actually survive. So that's something. If only I knew something about him, I'd be happy. But yeah, we know nothing about him, really. He's just kind of weird but fun character. It's kind of it. So yeah, those are the underdeveloped characters, but there are quite a few that are actually really good. The maybe cop, maybe bounty hunter, that's what they call him in the trailer. So the bounty hunter, he is honestly pretty underdeveloped for most of the movie. Like, for most of it, I was just like, yeah, you're great. Can you please develop something? Like, I want to like you, but where is your character? And then eventually, near the very end of the movie, like, before the final battle, we do get some character about him. Like, we find out that he apparently fought in the Civil War to be able to get some rights and stuff. He fought in that along with that general guy, and he completely understands why the general feels the way that he does. Like the general, he pretty much became a pacifist because of what the war did to him. Like, it really scarred him. And honestly, his story arc was really interesting. I just really liked him. He was very likable, and I was sad when he died. Like, yeah, spoiler, most of the characters in this die. But yeah, that was very sad to me. Like, I felt bad when he died. I felt bad when Chris Pratt died. I felt bad when even the muscle died. But yeah, pretty much now he pretty much comes back eventually to be able to fight and everything, but pretty much the bounty hunter, he does understand. They know each other very well, so I really liked those two. Just both of them, they were interesting. I just kind of wish that there was a little bit more development for the bounty hunter beforehand. Like, we even get, like, the very end of the movie, like, apparently, this one criminal, like, the guy they're chasing this whole movie, apparently he killed his mother and raped and then killed his. Wait, no, he raped and killed his mother, and then he also killed the rest of his family. Where did that come from? Like, why wait for the very end of the movie? I mean, like, yeah, okay, it's a surprise, but was there any build up to that? But, yeah, okay, I guess that happened. Incredibly dark backstory, check. So yeah, to me, I think that he could have used quite a bit of more expansion on his character a little bit earlier in the movie, but I do still really like him. He was still likable. Then I think the final guy, is the Muscle, who, honestly, I liked. He was a lot of fun. He was actually a very nice character to me. Like, out of the 7 of them, he's probably the one with the most respect. Like, he's probably the nicest out of all of them. Like, he'll just kill just to be able to get money. That's pretty much his thing. He wouldn't kill if that wasn't the case, or if it wasn't something worth fighting for. And also, he has respect towards women, which is something that was extremely lacking at that time period. And also, apparently, his family was either killed or they left him. Again, this is explained near the end of the movie. No build up to that. But honestly, I did like him. Like, he would stand up for people, and I just really liked him. He was a very nice character. He was also pretty funny at times. And so yeah, to me, he just kind of reminded me of Gimli from the Lord of the Rings movies, like, in the first one mainly. Like, he would have respect, but he was also pretty fun. So yeah, I liked him, and I also thought it was sad when he died. He was killed by an Indian, too, and he killed Indians for a living. How ironic! So yeah, for this one, I honestly have more fun with it. Like, there's actually grass in this Western. Grass in a Western, thank you. So yeah, there's actually some grass and things that aren't a desert. Like, yeah, okay, the main movie takes place in a desert, but there's still things that aren't a desert, so that's something. Yeah, I also just found this one to be a lot of fun, mainly because it takes the idea that it has, and actually has fun with it. It pretty much focuses mainly on the characters, and developing their relationship. The actors work pretty well off each other, and honestly, in the end, it does become a very good film. It becomes very solid. Like, even some of the minor ones, like, the woman who hires them, she gets a character, and I like her. She was very likable as well. You can understand her motive and her reason for actually doing all this. The only one who, outside of the main characters, who I didn't really like, was the main villain, who was way too silly for me in some areas, and also, he was never threatening, and he's barely in this thing, so you don't understand his motive outside of, I must have gold! So, yeah, that's honestly a big problem with him. I wish that there was a little bit more to him that would maybe make him a little bit more threatening, or give him more of a motivation, but that never seems to happen, so, yeah, he just kind of remains a pretty weak character for most of the movie. So, for him, he was probably one of the weakest. In fact, he probably is the weakest, maybe outside of that Spanish guy. So, yeah, for this one, I honestly thought it was pretty okay. I have not seen the original yet, but I am actually considering it now, because this one was actually pretty good. I had a lot of fun while watching it. When I wasn't freezing, because I did not bring my jacket this time, because I was an idiot. I now understand why my friends were cold during the Captain America movie, but it was the summer then. Like, still, I don't get that. But, yeah, this one I honestly had a lot of fun with. When I wasn't thinking about how cold I was there, I was honestly really enjoying the movie. So, yeah, this one was honestly pretty good. I do actually recommend checking this one out, because it has a lot of fun aspects to it. Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is probably the weakest to me. Like, it just didn't really strike a good point in it to me. Like, I think that needed a lot more work to actually be a better film. Like, for what it does, it's fine. I just think that this one was definitely a whole lot better. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye. Do it again. What do you think this movie's gonna be like?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure because I'm not real familiar with the movie. Now, I know the second movie looks good. It's a Western. All Westerns are good.
If you watch my before part, you'll understand my thoughts on that.
I didn't see it because you won't friend me on Facebook.
Why would I?
Most people friend their moms on Facebook.
Not this kid. Well, Dad, what do you think it's gonna be like? You are indeed. Yeah.
I get it. Chain company's been around forever, but who cares?
There's the screen that you can't see. We're at the drive-in. Just believe me on this. Trust me, the screen's right there. You just can't see it. Alright guys, so we are now up at the screen. No, really. That is the pole holding up, that's one of the poles holding up this thing. And you can see it beautifully. Yeah. For some odd reason, even though there is still some light out here, I'm not able to film it. But trust me, the screen is right here. In fact, I'm leaning on one of the beams. You just can't see it. Okay guys, here's a real treat. The very bottom of the screen. Woo! There's the screen, but you can't see really. There's the screen. Woo!